Good afternoon. My name is Franklin Roche, and I'm going to talk to you guys on how to become a high school official and the steps to go about doing that. First things first, one thing that you ought to have is a complete understanding of the sport that it is that you're trying to officiate. I don't know much about lacrosse, so I probably wouldn't go and try to officiate lacrosse. But I do understand football, so I'm going to try to officiate football. So that's the first thing I would tell you to do, is try to officiate the sport that you know most about. Because therefore you'll probably feel a little bit easier, and it'll probably be easier to acclimate yourself to that sport because you understand it a little bit. If you played it, you're watching on TV, you understand the rules a little bit. So I would always suggest and recommend at least doing a sport that you understand a little bit at first. Once you do that, because you are going to have to take a written test. And in this written test, it's going to consist of about 100 questions. And it's going to be true, false. It's going to be some fill in the blanks where the answers are going to be in multiple choice questions. Again, if you understand the sport that you're actually going to officiate, sometimes taking the test even sometimes make it a little bit easier for you to get a passing score or a higher grade. Therefore, that gets you on the field that much faster of the respective sport that you're actually trying to officiate. At the same time, too, some sports agencies, like the one that I'm going to talk about, is right here in the state of Florida, the Florida High School Athletic Southern Association. They require you every year to take a state mandated test. So you got to read up on your rules. You got to know the rules. But knowing the sport that you're actually going to officiate and referee will help you out immensely once you understand the sport that it is that you're trying to officiate. Second, sometimes you may have this grand idea that I want to officiate, but you have no clue or no idea what actually goes involved in officiating. The time, the schedule that you actually have to put into officiating. Remember, officiating is a lot different than playing. When you're playing, you're just focused on what you're doing and your responsibility. And when you're officiating, it's kind of the same thing. You're still in a team atmosphere, but you're not watching the game. You're watching a section of the game. And a lot of times that may be hard to do because you're a spectator, you're a fan, you played this. Again, this is why you chose to do this, to still be kind of part of the game without being a part of the game. And you watch the game, and when you watch the game, you may miss some calls. So therefore, you have to understand that you're not watching the game. You're watching a portion of the game, but not the whole game. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you want to know, one thing I would definitely highly recommend is volunteer. Go to your association whenever you choose one, and then volunteer to officiate practices or scrimmages. And therefore, you're going to understand when it doesn't really count, but you're getting that work, you're getting that experience in, and you're going to see what I'm talking about when I say you're watching the game, but you're watching a section of the game and not the whole game. You're watching a section that you're responsible for. And so when you volunteer to go referee and officiate a high school scrimmage or a little league scrimmage or a game before the games actually matter, that is something I highly recommend, because you understand what actually goes into it. And sometimes you may realize that, you know what, this may not be for me. I think I'll just sit back and I'd rather enjoy and watch the game from the couch or from the sideline. But being on the field, it moves just a little bit faster, and I may not be able to take my eyes and my excitement off of watching the entire game instead of watching my section. So I highly recommend definitely volunteer first before you actually do it to where it counts, and before you spend any money to see if this is something you really want to do. Well, Third thing I would tell you to do is contact your local association. You can't just show up at a high school game and say, I want a referee. You actually have to go through your local association, because most associations or most schools and the school board are contracted through an association. That's who they go through for their games. There's a certain level of professionalism that requires you to go out and officiate these games. And again, I said sometimes it's maybe the last time that somebody plays a sport. Maybe the last time somebody plays a high school sport, and that's very important to them. So if it's important to them, it should be important to you to make sure that you're giving that sport, that student athlete, everything you got to make that experience with them more enjoyable and memorable. That's something they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. And who knows, what you do out there may have them wanting to do what you're doing. And so you're not only representing yourself and having a good time, but you may be laying the foundation and the groundwork for the next person that's coming up, that's watching you and says, wow, that guy looks like he's having a lot of fun. He enjoys the game, and this is a way for me to keep going. So you definitely want to enjoy what you're doing, and you want to be out there, and you want to give it the full commitment and the excellence that you would require, or that you would want if it was you out there playing and giving it your all. So contact your local association. My association that I'm with is WCOA, and you'll actually see it in the PowerPoint. It's a West Coast Officials Association. It's based right here in Tampa, Florida. You have a local meeting. You can go to the website, which again, that'll be on the PowerPoint that you can look up, and you can see, like I said, about all the information about how to go about signing up, and it'll just touch a little bit more in detail about what I'm talking about now. And that way you'll have a better understanding. That way, if you don't catch everything, like I said, and there's always telephone numbers that'll also be on the website that you can call, and they're always more than happy to assist you in you pursuing your goal of becoming a high school official. Another thing too is, it's outside of just volunteering. Like I said, there's rules involved, things that you never thought about before, or certain difficult circumstances that may happen on the field that you never think about. And so there is some classroom work involved. Again, this is why volunteering and putting in the groundwork ahead of time is to make sure this is something that you actually want to do, because it's not just showing up, throwing on a pair of tennis shoes and running out there and officiating. There's some classroom work, there's the physical, and there's the didactics. So there's coursework, and there's also the physical work that you actually have to do. Sometimes, you pay a small fee to take a written test. And so again, time is money and money is time. If you're going to pay your money to do this, I don't want to take a test over and over and over again just until I pass and I can go out and do this. I want to pass it the first time. So getting with my local association, going over and doing study groups and learning and putting in the time and the preparation before I get out there is going to make me a better official. It's going to make you a better official, and it's going to make everything more enjoyable and make the experience more enjoyable for everyone there, for the fans, for the student athletes, for the coaches, for the administration, everybody. When you know what you're doing and you have a proper knowledge of what it is you're doing, then everything else seems to fall in place. Now, one thing I probably should have started off with first, and I should have mentioned this at the beginning, is that because you are around student athletes that are in high school, they're underage, there's a thing called the Jessica Lunsford Act, that if you're going to be around high schoolers, you have to go in and get fingerprinted. It's kind of like being an independent contractor when you're with your association. So I'm with the WCOA, and I go officiate a game. Well, although I am with the association, the school board is still responsible for who they allow around their children. And as a parent, you definitely want to make sure that there's upstanding citizens that are going to be around your children. So you do have to be fingerprinted, and run a background check to make sure that you don't have any felonies or anything like that. So if you do have a felony, then unfortunately I would have to say that the buck stops here. You cannot officiate if you have a felony. You can't be around any minors and any underage children if you have a felony. So keep that in mind, that if you have a question about something, then you can actually contact the local school board and give them your situation, and they'll be better to guide you about whether or not you're eligible or not eligible to go forth and participate in officiating and becoming a high school official. Now, once that's all out the way, you've taken the test, you've volunteered, and you're ready to go. Well, now you got to buy the equipment. Now, by the equipment, I mean you can see my getup of what I have on right now. So, first things first is that you want to get a watch, especially something with a timer or a countdown. Something that can count down, so the play clock, so you can keep track, and that helps the game get moving, and it helps the game move a little bit faster, so you don't have the long delays, and everybody can get out at a respectable time. So you definitely want to have a watch. You want to have your handy dandy, and what an official is known for is a whistle. That's something that is almost mandated to have as an official. Now again, my getup and the outfit that I'm wearing is for a high school official football. So everything I'm wearing is a football official or football referee. So number one, I got my hat. You got your pinstripe hat. That's it, bro. That's your legendary, customary pinstripe hat. Then you have your shirt. Got your pinstripe shirt. Got to have a pocket. In that pocket, you're going to have, see that little pouch there? And during the game, and like I said, you'll go over more of this when you actually get with a member of the local association. You probably want to get with a mentor, and then they'll go over all this stuff. And probably the best thing to do is to get with that mentor, because a lot of times we have extra uniforms and shirts and things that, because this can get a little pricey. I think this package will probably run you about $200 to start off with for a minimum package to get you started, to start officiating high school sports. So you get this this handy dandy packet. It comes with a pencil. See that there? And that way you can keep track of all the timeouts, the penalties, who called the timeout, at what time. I mean, it's definitely a great organization to have this, and I would recommend having that when you do that. Second, you would also get this in the kit. You'll get the so you have this. It's a sweatband, but it helps you keep the down indicator. Sometimes a lot of things are going on and you can't remember what's happening. So you have this here. It's a down indicator. It tells you first down, second down, you know, whatever the down is. So you got this. You got the pants. As you see, we got these pants, and I'll have the link to where you can actually order this equipment. But as I told you before, if you're okay with accepting hand-me-downs, it's best to go with another official, your mentor, and a lot of times they'll have extra uniforms that they can lend to you, so therefore you're not spending all that money out of pocket initially. You know, you get to work a little bit, make some money, then you can actually then add to your accessories the way that you like, and, you know, just as long as you're staying within the guidelines of the uniform. Of course, you have your bean bags that comes in the kit. Got your shirt, got your pants, got your hat. Of course, that's it. The handkerchiefs, you got the yellow flags. You know, this is everything that comes in the kit, and that gets you started to start officiating high school sports. Here's a couple of things that I recommend adding. I added a voice recorder. A lot of times, you know, when the game is going on, I don't want to go down and I don't want to reach down and write things down. I want to be able to keep my eyes on what's going on the field and what's going on with the student athletes. So a lot of times I could just carry this voice recorder, put it in my pocket. I could just pull it out, record what the penalty, what the foul is on, what the yardage, stop recording, put it back in my pocket. When it's time to record, I just play back real time. And to me, that's a lot more. But again, I made the investment to do that. You don't have to do that, but I think it's worth it. I did it, and it works out for me. And like I said, once you get into it, you'll figure out what works best for you. Now, a lot of times you'll have the what we call the clock operator, and they're up in the booth, kind of the eyes in the sky, and they'll be writing this down. And at halftime, all the officials will get together, and then we'll discuss what the penalties are. So, if this is all something good to have if you're going to be doing the clock operator. Again, this is also part of the uniform and equipment that you should have. So definitely keep that on hand. And then lastly, how do you get the games? How do I start officiating games? How do I know where to go? How do I know how to get there? Well, most associations, just like my association, we have a website that we use. And it's an assigner. It's called the Arbiter. And you go in, you set up a password, a username, and like I said, your local association will go over this with you, whoever your mentor is, and they'll go over it step by step. But you'll go in there and you'll sign up and you'll put in the Arbiter, and I'll let you know your availability based on your zip code, based on your work schedule. You know, you'll let them know when you're available, where you're coming from, and that way, like how far you're willing to travel, and you'll get the games based on that. And that's a good recording system also too. A lot of times we get paid in cash. So when you get paid in cash, like I said, you are an independent contractor. So you want to be able to keep a good log of those things about what games I worked, where I worked, and those types of things. So keeping a good records, a good accounting is good. And that's what the Arbiter is good for. It kind of does all that for you. Where you're assigned, where you're going, who you're working with, phone numbers. So who's the administrator at the school you're going to be going to in case the facilities that you get to are not up to par, where you have to get dressed and undressed if it's not safe. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but the Arbiter is great for that. That's great record keeping. And that's something that your local association, like I said, will go over that with you, whoever your mentor is. But for your own experience and for your own records, you want to actually keep your own records. And that way, if something does happen, or you can kind of counteract or balance whatever their records show versus what you have written down. Another thing, so you know, is record your experience. Because again, that's what this is. It's an experience. You're learning, and that's what this is all about. It's learning and getting better every day to become an official. I mean, we're all not born to be Ed Hockley. You know, we have to work at it. And by working at it, you know, you have to record yourself. I mean, that's the thing. You know, you have to be able to critique yourself and accept criticism. So, you know, like I said, recording yourself, keeping good records, those are things that are also going to make you better. And like I said, if there's any other questions, like I said, you can go out. If the website doesn't answer it, or my PowerPoint doesn't answer it, and your official doesn't answer it, and your mentor doesn't answer it, your association doesn't answer it, like somebody's going to have an answer. We don't have all the answers, but we'll know where to find the answers. So I hope that actually was able to get you started in the right path to becoming a high school official. And I wish you the best of luck. And if you have any questions, like I said, contact your mentor, your local association, the Florida High School Athletic Southern Association website. There's so much information out there. And I hope that you will take this experience and take this opportunity with great gratitude. And I hope you'll enjoy it just as much as I enjoy it, because it's a lot of fun. And I hope to see you out there. I hope you're welcome to the ranks and the unity that we call the officials. So thank you for watching, and hope to see you out there soon. Take care.